continued to yell, "It's hot, get me out of here," and kept kicking and kicking and kicking.
A couple years ago, the Florida prison system was stunned when a major scandal got brought to light involving officers that had
He just continued to yell, "It's hot, get me out of here," and kept kicking and kicking and kicking.
A couple years ago, the Florida prison system was stunned when a major scandal got brought to light involving officers that had locked an inmate in a small rigged shower room, turning the water on full hot, and left him screaming for mercy for nearly 2 hours until he collapsed and died, the skin peeling off his body. Even senior investigators were silenced when they tried to bring up legitimate cover-ups and inmate abuse, and this type of shit happens a lot in the Florida Department of Correction. So now we fast forward to Kodak's situation. Kodak's right now in prison for 3 years for falsifying information when applying for some guns. Then we found out about a story where one morning Kodak wakes up and he's sipping on some coffee when all of a sudden he feels possessed, he feels woozy, he starts to get these hallucinations. So immediately he goes to the CO's office and says, "Something ain't right, I need medical attention," and they deny him. Kodak's confused, he's like, okay, and he heads back over to his cell. Now, they put an inmate in his cell earlier in the day. Kodak somehow gets into a fight with this guy, the guards come rushing down, they try to break it up, it takes 3 of them to hold back Kodak. In the meantime, he's in survival mode, he's hallucinating, he's fighting an inmate, he probably thinks he's fighting some type of alien invasion. During the whole process, Kodak grabbed one of the guards' testicles. Pause, but this is a true story. Grabbed the guy's testicles, started to squeeze that shit like it was a carnival game and he's looking for a high score. I don't know. Pause on everything. He did so much damage to this guard that the guard's intestinal wall was breached and this poor SOB had to go get surgery. What's really weird is the inmate who was randomly placed in Kodak's cell somehow bonded out 12 hours after the brawl. And we got FBI agents who testified that Kodak appeared to be under the influence during the fight. So now everybody wants to know, how did that get into his coffee? And what was it? Kodak can't prove that he was laced because by the time he could do some type of test, whatever substance that may or may not have been in there is already out of your system. So he can't prove it. Now apparently there is video surveillance, but who controls the video surveillance? The prison guards. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Of course, you got people who don't believe any of this, right? They think Kodak was just on some DMT or LSD or something just to try and kill time while he was behind bars, and fair enough if that's what you think, but there's a lot of sketchy shit going on here that you can't really close your eyes and ignore. Then of course you got the letter that Kodak wrote exposing 2 lieutenants who were trying to systematically kill him. His mother wasn't allowed to see him, they weren't giving him food. They even went into his cell one day and said, "I'm gonna take your pretty little girlfriend off your visitation list." Petty shit. Now one thing as Kodak fans, and I am one of them, we have to admit is that Kodak has been making some mistakes. He's been fucking up and that's okay to say. I mean, who here remembers the time recently where Kodak let his GPS take him to Canada by mistake with illegal weapons, right? How do you do that? He took one wrong left turn, him and his crew, they ended up in Canada and they had to recross the border with illegal weapons. It was done. It was over. And it's moments like these where even if you're a Kodak fan, you gotta go, bruh, what? But regardless of the mistakes he's making, listen, nobody deserves to have their basic human rights stripped from them, like what appears to be happening to Kodak in the Miami detention center. I mean, don't forget, this is a place in Florida where literally last week, an investigation was launched into a prison guard pouring bleach on an inmate's food. I mean, what the f? And I know this happens all over the states, but specifically, I've done a bunch of videos on Florida, and there's something special going on there. It's the 3rd most corrupt state in America. The system is crazy, the streets are equally crazy, and both sides are trying to figure out who's crazier than the other. Oh yeah, get this. So Kodak's mom shows up at the prison to visit Kodak. She hasn't seen him in months. And when she gets there, she finds out Kodak's not even in the prison. It turns out that they had moved Kodak like 1,000 miles away to Kentucky. Now the story doesn't end there. Kodak is appealing the whole thing, including his 4-year sentence. We'll see what happens, but I want to know what you guys think. Some people think that Kodak was just doing substances while he was in prison. Everybody knows you can get your hands on certain substances in prison. There's like an underground market behind bars. Others believe he was laced. Me personally, I think he was laced. It just, the whole situation looks sketchy as fuck. Anyways, bro, it's the Chronicles of Florganistan, and yeah, man, pray for Kodak. I'll see you in the next video.